Hi everybody, Mrs. Sletten here. We are going to be starting a new warm-up process in your notebooks, in the back of your notebooks. And on the summative, we will have a small chunk of questions that will test you on this and that will be graded in your summative grade. So the way you do it is here's my notebook. I'm going to the very last open page. My back page was open. And I'm going to fold it in half and unfold it. And then you can see I labeled it day 1 and day 2 up there. And then you're going to cut it into 3 pieces. So I do 1 line and 2 lines, and then I have 1, 2, 3 pieces in my notebook for my warm up. And pause the video if you need time to help each other get that done right now. And we're going to actually do the problems. I'll show you what that warm up process looks like. All right. Here are our problems. I'm going to move my head over here. So the first problem we're going to do is adding fractions. And so you are going to add those 2 fractions together. And in that first box, you're also going to write the key idea. Write out all these words. When adding fractions, you are adding parts of a number. And then for the second question, you're doing -4 minus 5. And the key idea there is subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. So I want you to write down those problems and solve them. And when you're ready to see the answers and check them yourself, you can come back with me and press play. Okay, so first I'm going to solve the first question. And what you have to remember when you're adding and subtracting fractions is you have to have a common denominator. So for this, for 5 and 8, I know that both 5 and 8 go into 40. So I'm going to make a common denominator of 40. So I'm going to multiply this by 8, and I'm going to multiply the 8 by 5. And if you remember about fractions, and we talked about this a little bit last class, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Okay, so I'm just going to get those multiplication parts written in, and then I'm going to make my new fractions to add with the common denominator. So this first one, I have 3 times 8. That gives me 24. And then the 5 times 8 on the bottom gives me 40. Plus 1 times 5 is 5. And the 8 times the 5 is 40. Look, now I have common denominators. The bottom numbers are the same. If you did that part, you should have a marker and you can put a star next to your denominator. If you didn't get a common denominator, you're going to write this in with your marker and make sure you have a correct example down in your notebook. Okay, now we are going to add the numerators together. 24 plus 5 is 29. And we keep the denominators at 40. So 24 40ths plus 5 40ths equals 29 40ths. And if you got that correct, you can give yourself a star for that part too. All right, now for the second problem, it's -4 minus 5. The first thing you should do is change it to an adding problem. So -4 plus -5. So we keep the first number the same, change it to adding, and change the second number to negative. If you changed it to an addition problem, give yourself a star for that one. Whoops, it's not blue. Give yourself a star with your marker for that one. And then we're going to add those up. So -4 goes down, and then we're going to go down 5 more. So we're going to end up at -9. And if you got that correct answer, give yourself a star. Okay, finally, on the bottom of your page, you're in that third section at the bottom. Show you you're going to choose one of these prompts. Next time I will, and you can say, next time I will remember to change my subtraction to adding the opposite, if that's the part you got wrong. Or if you got it all right, you can say, I know how to add fractions and subtract integers. Okay, so you're going to pick one of those 2 and write it in the third box, and then you're all set for today. We're going to switch over to notes. I will see you soon.